Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. Well, it finally happened. Justin Trudeau is in hot water. Get him an orange jumpsuit. Maybe he'd prefer the black and white stripes when he goes to jail. So he's just been found, you can see this article here by the Canadian Constitution Foundation. Federal court finds the Emergencies Act violated rights, which was unreasonable. Wow. Now, if we just look through this article a bit here, it said it was violated in two ways. First, Cabinet did not properly account for the requirement under Section 3 of the Act of the Emergencies that emergencies only be declared where a situation cannot be effectively dealt with under any other law of Canada. Due to its nature, to the broad powers it grants the federal executive, the Emergencies Act is a tool of last resort, Justice Mosley wrote. The GIC cannot invoke the Emergencies Act because it is convenient or because it may work better than other tools at their disposal or available to the provinces. Second, the requirement of the reasonable grounds to believe that Canada faced threats to the security of Canada had not been met. Section 17 under the Act states that the threats to the security of Canada has the same meaning as under Section 2C of the Canadian Securities Intelligence Service Act, the CSIS Act, which includes threats like this word I can't say, espionage, attempts to overthrow the government. Justice Mosley said that this does not include the economic disruption that resulted from the border crossing blockades, troubling as they were. The invocation of the Emergencies Act is one of the worst examples of government overreach during the pandemic, and we are very pleased to see Justice Mosley recognize the charter rights were breached and that Cabinet must follow the law and only use the Act as a tool of last resort. There you have it, folks. Justin Trudeau broke the law. It has been decided by the highest court in Canada. This is the highest act of breaking the law that this dingbat has done. And he's finally getting caught, and it feels good. I can't wait to see him in an orange jumpsuit. So what does this mean? There's a lot of recourse to this. First off, let's hear what Chrystia Freeland had to say on this. It's quite the somber tone.
So we are aware of the court decision. We have discussed it with the Prime Minister, with Cabinet colleagues, with senior federal government officials and experts. We respect very much Canada's independent judiciary. However, we do not agree with this decision, and respectfully, we will be appealing it. I would just like to take a moment to remind Canadians of how serious the situation was in our country.
How about how serious the situation is in our country today with you dingbat losers? Other words I would like to say that I cannot. So we're getting flavorful and creative here. The boneheads absolutely running us into the ground. It's so nice that it just goes to show that that court is not bought and paid off like the RCMP and all these other organizations. We've got someone that's not bought and pay off, people. It's time to cheer about that.
When we took that decision, the public safety of Canadians was under threat. Our national security, which includes our national economic security, was under threat. It was a hard decision to take. We took it very seriously after a lot of hard work, after a lot of careful deliberation. We were convinced at the time, I was convinced at the time, it was the right thing to do. It was the necessary thing to do. I remain, and we remain, convinced of that. And I'll now turn it over to my colleague, the Minister of Justice, and then we'll hear from my colleague, the Minister of Public Safety.
Yeah, this is a big embarrassment. And she talks about about safety of Canadians. Let's just take a look at this for a second. We jump over to X here. We want to talk about safety. So the Emergencies Act, this is going to have a huge blowout because people had their accounts locked down. Anyone, not only people who were at the Freedom Convoy. You can see here a police horse trampling a person in a scooter. Oh, look at this guy. Did I just break your spine? Like, what happened there? This guy, I mean, he's close enough. He's grabbing onto the back of the horse's foot. Like, anyone who has a horse, who's ever been around horses, you know, one kick from that, you're done. You can be paralyzed or dead. What is friendly about this, bringing in horses? You already have like an army of dudes with tear gas and all sorts of, like, come on. You got a bunch of people holding cell phones, right? This isn't like Venezuela or whatever, Somalia, where there's like armed thugs. This is Canada. This is peaceful. This whole thing was peaceful. I like that the Canadians that did go out to this, they kept it peaceful, yet still the government locked down in a huge section, multiple blocks. They had checkpoints. You couldn't move freely through the areas. You had to go through police and show identification, which goes against the law as well, the freedom of movement. The government broke so many laws with this. Like, look at this. You got a bunch of people with their toques on, their cell phones out, and you got all these military type police standing here like some brigade blockade wall. It's embarrassing. These big tear gas helmets, like, really? Really? So we're talking about the safety of Canadians. Why don't we talk about that there? Not this pompous a-hole jerk running our country in the ground and feeling threatened that there's millions of us that hate this guy's guts.
Thank you, Christia. Just to build on what Minister Freeland was mentioning, the court decision, we've received the judgment. We've done a preliminary review of the judgment. The judgment finds in certain respects that the decisions of the government were valid and were within constitutional parameters. In other respects, it finds it was not. Upon reviewing that decision, we obviously reiterate the respect for the judicial process that Minister Freeland has just mentioned, but a fundamental aspect of the judicial process is also proceeding on an appeal. And after that consultation with the Prime Minister, with Cabinet colleagues, we've taken the decision that we will be proceeding on an appeal, as is within our rights within the judicial system. Donc, c'est-à-dire que...
Just save us the embarrassment, please. You guys are a bunch of pompous losers. You got caught. Someone's going to jail, and it better be Trudeau.
Et je vous rappelle encore.
So these guys just go on with a bit of Grey Poupon here.
I was in Ottawa during those weeks, as were my colleagues. I participated in the cabinet discussions. We were updated by senior officials.
We faced, as a country and as a government, an incredibly serious threat. A threat to the public safety of many Canadians.
Yeah, it's called the Justin Trudeau Liberal government. Thank you very much.
A threat to our national security, including our national economic security. We acted to secure and protect Canada and
now
to
you're going to
secure
jail.
and protect the national interest. It was not an easy time. These were not easy decisions. In making our decisions and choosing to act, we worked very, very hard with all levels of government, and we were very mindful of acting in such a way that the safety, the physical safety of all Canadians involved would be preserved. I don't want to minimize the gravity of the actions we took. Neither do I want to minimize the gravity of the threat Canada faced. And to your question, I was certain, after a lot of deliberation with colleagues and many others, that we took the right decision. I was certain at the time. I was certain when I testified before Rouleau, and I remain certain today. Thank you.
She is terrified. So I actually recorded a video where I break down her and Mark Holland breaking down the facial expressions and body language. That video is set to go out a little bit later, but now that this is breaking news right now, I'm putting this up. So what's interesting is I break down, she's really easy to read. Watching her speak like this, she is terrified. You could tell she is terrified. The way she is slowed down, she doesn't have her same twitches anymore. She isn't talking with her head crooked. So just watch out for that video, you'll see. But just to add on, after watching that one, come back and look at this again. Her demeanor, her tone of voice, her posture, She is crumpled in. She is scared. I think she is worried that she might be going to jail too. Get her an orange jumpsuit.
Regrettez-vous quoi que ce soit?
Look, I truly do not want to minimize the fact that we took these decisions with a heavy heart. This was not a situation we wanted to find ourselves in, and these were not actions we took with any satisfaction or relish. The safety of individual Canadians was under real threat, as Minister LeBlanc has pointed out. Our national security was under real threat, our national security, including our economic security.
So once again, we're talking about this people's safety. When is it acceptable to trample a horse through a population? We talk about economic security. If you go through here, there are so many comments on all these posts. People are saying, oh, do I get to sue now? All this kind of stuff. So I think people have up to 2 years to sue from the end of the Emergencies Act. So it's like 2 years off of 2022. And basically, I think Justin Trudeau, at least like the government, which sucks, is our money, but Justin Trudeau is going to get sued because he shut down the bank accounts of over 200 people. There's still people in jail for this. Those people in jail are going to sue the pants off of Trudeau. And people had their bank accounts locked, whether they were in that photo at the actual rallies, or if they just donated money, they had bank accounts shut down. People were just donating money on GoFundMe and all those different fundraisers. And the government came in, they tracked down these people's names and stuff and locked down all of their bank accounts, all of their credit cards, so they could not pay their bills. They couldn't pay their mortgage. They couldn't put, food on the table. It is disgusting. These losers are disgusting and all belong in jail. And I'm glad that finally we got someone on our side here, someone who has a moral backbone who says, nope, I'm not letting that slide. So I'm really curious to see now what the legal recourse is for what Trudeau did there. Is he going to jail? How long is he going to jail? Is Chrystia Freeland going to jail? Are they going to share a nice little cell together? How long would that sentence be? And how much are they going to be sued for? These are all questions that we'll have to wait for the answer for, but this is a big win for Canadians. Canadians have been getting the short end of this crap for too long. This is the start of a better Canada. This is the start of a new future of this country. Until then, we have to wait until Pierre Poilievre takes over. We need to stick together. Stay warm, stay fed. I'll see you guys in the next one.